Greetings. It's time for another quick tip from Dominic. In this episode, we will be covering resources for writing assignments. Are you ready? Here we go. What is a resource for writing? Well, a resource is quite simply some data or information that has been included in, but not necessarily limited to, a scholarly journal, such as ProQuest, a website, personal communication, audio or video, book, magazine, or newspaper. These places are usually the go-to places for students to find the information that they need in order to complete their research papers. What are some good resources? A good resource is a resource that has credibility to it. For most students, scholarly journals and news articles from well-known publications are the first place that they should be going in order to find the information that they need. They can also go to governmental websites such as the Center for Disease Control to find data that they may need in order to complete their research paper. Personal communications that have been conducted by the student are also great sources for the students to use. Scholarly journals are peer-reviewed, so the information is typically pretty accurate. Well-known news websites hold themselves to a high standard of accurately reporting the news. Governmental websites typically hire researchers to collect and tabulate their data on their websites, and personal communications are great because it is a primary source. You are interviewing someone that had a personal experience with a concept. Books, audio, and video can also be good sources, but make sure that the source of the audio or video is credible and not just a podcast or a vlog, also known as a video log, because that's mostly someone else's opinion. What is a not so good resource? Well, just as there are good resources, there are also many not so good resources. Don't believe everything that you read on the web because some of it is very inaccurate. Many personal blog websites would not necessarily be considered a credible source. Websites that used to have credibility, .orgs for example, are not as fact-based as one may think they are nowadays. I can remember when I was an undergraduate and writing a paper for a biology class very late one night, and I almost made the mistake of adding information from a .org about the Pacific Northwest tree octopus. Ha! I'm glad I proofread what I had written at 4 a.m. the next morning before submitting it. Websites that end in .info are also not as credible as one may think. Many of the websites that are out there are slanted one way or the other to push a specific agenda and may not be as fact-based as one may think. The rule here is to be careful. If you are on a questionable website and find some very useful information, then try to do a web search to see if the data has popped up in multiple places. What about Wikipedia? Well, many students think that Wikipedia is a great web resource. It's easy to get to. It has a plethora of information on many subjects, has references at the bottom of the page, and, unfortunately, is not as good of a resource as many people may think. The problem with Wikipedia is that anyone can add to the page. I could look up Henry VIII, for example, and add that I am a direct reincarnation of the king. But that doesn't make it so now, does it? Although Wikipedia can be a good launching off point for resources, the only time I would ever use it is to read the concepts that are being discussed on the page, and then click on the specific reference of the concept that I'm interested in order to fact check it. Be careful. Also, be sure that you are at least copying down the exact web address that you are getting the information from so that it'll be a lot easier to retrieve that information later when you need to make a works cited or reference page and to construct in-text citations. So, now you know where you can go for resources to start collecting credible data for your papers. Now, your experience may vary due to the overwhelming amount of information that is being placed on the web daily, so be sure to take a minute and do some fact-checking with your resources if they come from questionable websites or media. This has been a quick tip from Dominic. If you found this video helpful, then please feel free to hit the like and subscribe buttons down below. If you have any questions that you would like answered in a future episode, then please leave them in the comments below. Have a great semester, and happy writing!